Now, Paul Kelly, editor-at-large at the Australian newspaper, joining me this morning. Paul, very good morning to you. Can I just come back to this issue around Labor? You've written about this this weekend. And listening to Brendan O'Connor there, as Labor repositions, tries to get back on course and come to terms with its election loss, there seems to be agreement that they do need to focus a lot more on jobs and wages to win back that blue-collar vote they've lost. But they're having a bit more difficulty in discarding the progressive agenda, apart from saying, yes, perhaps we need to change emphasis. But as you write, this is not going to be an easy process for the centre-left.
Certainly not, David. This was a shattering defeat for the Labor Party, and they'll take a couple of years to sort themselves out, and that's right and proper. They've got to have a very full debate about their repositioning, about the direction they need to go in. Anthony Albanese's speech this week was very welcome. He signalled that jobs, wages and economic growth, not redistribution, will be the foundation stone for the Labor rethink, and that means a repositioning of the party strategically to the centre. He also made it clear that climate change would be redefined as an opportunity for jobs and for growth, and this is very different from the, to a large extent, from the Green and Extinction Rebellion position of trying to frighten and intimidate people. So what we're going to see, I think, is we're going to see quite a lot of difference on the centre-left of politics as the Labor Party repositions to the centre. There are going to be risks for Anthony Albanese and for Labor in doing this. Nonetheless, they've got no option but to go ahead and implement this strategic repositioning. The way they do it and the policy implications will be enormously important, of course.
Look, this is somewhat linked to what the Prime Minister said on Friday at the mining conference he was at in Queensland. While he no doubt has concerns about the impact on small Australian businesses from some of these boycott movements from climate activists, this is also a great opportunity to try and wedge Labor a bit on this as well. And we just heard Brendan O'Connor say, heavily critical of what the Prime Minister's announced here. What do you think, Paul, about this very idea? Is it possible and is it necessary to outlaw these sort of boycotts?
What we saw from Scott Morrison the other day was a declaration of intent, and I don't think we can easily dismiss this. He made this statement in Queensland. He made the point that $1 in $5 from the Queensland economy comes from mining and the resources sector, and this goes very much to the attitude Queensland had at the last election. Now, Morrison's complained about street demonstrators, but the real issue is identified. The real threat to the industry, which he says is an insidious threat, is commercial secondary boycotts, where we have companies, often big companies in consulting or insurance or banking, boycotting other companies that are dealing with the mining sector. Now, Morrison has made it clear that as far as he's concerned, this is unacceptable. These are signs of intolerance, and he wants to look at what he can do about this, consult with the attorney, Christian Porter, and I think the implication is that there is likely to be some legislative response to this. This will be a very tricky area, and it goes to the heart of a lot of issues that business are now grappling with, and what will be a very permanent activist climate change movement in this country. But I think Morrison is serious about this.
I think you're right. Look, a final one. We did see this week, Paul, the Royal Commission draft report on aged care, a Productivity Commission draft report on mental health, both of them painting a terrible picture here. These aren't easy issues to solve. How challenging are they becoming, though, now for the Coalition in its third term? It has to take ownership of these issues, but they're not cheap to fix, are they?
These are priority issues, and I'm certain the Morrison government will treat them as priority issues. The interim report from the Royal Commission on aged care is devastating, and the Prime Minister has indicated there will be a prompt financial response in the mid-year fiscal review. Scott Morrison has also indicated that mental health will be a priority of his. He made that clear before the last election, so clearly the government will act on mental health as well. You're correct to think that there'll be a very high cost associated with this. The budget will be under pressure. Morrison has made the point that they knew these reports were coming, particularly the aged care report. They knew this would involve substantial spending, and this was one of the factors that they've taken into account when it comes to the drought as well. So what we see with all these issues is the budget under very substantial pressure. This is going to be a challenging time for the government, but I don't think there should be any doubt at all that we'll see a strong response from the government on aged care.
Yeah, and that's coming before the end of the year, we're told. Paul, we'll have to leave it there, my final show. So, look, thank you very much for all of your wisdom, your insights over many years. I've loved talking to you on Sky News, and I'll continue enjoying your contributions regularly, so thank you.
Well, David, I've enjoyed very much talking to you, and the best of luck in your new job.